Hello, citizens, and welcome to the first episode of Find Your Org. This series is all about talking to the leaders of various organizations in Star Citizen and helping players to get to know them and find the right fit. In this episode, I am joined by Gonzo and Reverend Andy from Sante Interstellar Solutions, so let's give them a warm welcome. Good evening, guys. Welcome to the show, and how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about
Doing
yourself?
great today.
Well, welcome to the show. I am very glad you accepted the invitation. And I think without further ado, let's dive right into the questions with the first one. So, can you introduce yourselves and give us a brief intro to your organization?
Sure. I'll go first. Hello, I am Muerto Gonzo. I am the founder of Sante Interstellar Solutions.
And I'm Reverend Andy. I'm a naval officer in SIS and a deputy council member of SACA.
Yep. Our organization was founded in the year 2022. It was founded for the purpose of actually playing the game and not just talking about playing Star Citizen. That's all we got for question one, I think.
Okay, that was a very brief intro. So let's move on.
You say brief, we give you brief.
Yeah, that's what you asked for, sir.
That's fair. It is in the question, I admit. So let's move on to question number 2. So how would you describe your organization's mission and play style in Star Citizen?
I'll take this one. So we are a lawful organization. The biggest stressor that we want to put out there is that 95% of the time that you're in Star Citizen, if you're a member of Sante, it's your time. You know, it's we're having fun, we're doing stuff together, but that's when you be you. That other 5% of the time, we do ask that's Sante's time. You know, we stress that we do have standards and practices that we want, you know, in our org. So we ask a nice little split, 95-5. So
makes sense to me. Gonzo, anything to add?
Not really. No, it pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're making good time. So, question number 3: how is your organization structured in terms of ranks, division, leadership roles? I saw you have a lot of that on your website.
Yes. Our organization is structured into divisions. So we have first our LockCorp division, which is the economic and logistical powerhouse of our org, followed by our Hydrus Atomics Marines and Navy. Their job in the org is basically to protect our assets and our members, followed by Serpents Universal, which is our sort of medical and bounty hunting and research and exploration division that kind of just does everything that the other divisions don't cover. We have several different sort of ranks. We have our general membership, sort of just regular enlisted ranks, where you're just a person that logs in and plays when you want to. Followed by that, we have our non-commissioned officer ranks. Those are essentially people that are in charge of leading events. So we do have a I forgot the word. Jesus, a event making quota basically for NCOs, where they have to make at least one event a month and lead it, so that we have activity going on most of the time. Followed behind that would be our officer corps. So those are people that handle the operational minutia, so dealing with paperwork, answering tickets, processing new members, while also leading events and doing everything that NCOs do. And then finally, we have our high command, which has overall responsibility for the organization as a whole. So that's making sure people are doing what they're supposed to be doing, making sure any disputes that arise between the leadership get handled and result in like a good way, so everyone's happy with the outcome.
mutually beneficial.
Yeah, mutually. That's the word. I need more coffee.
I can agree on that one. Andy, anything to add?
No, that's pretty much, like Gonzo stressed, we have the 3 different main layers of our organization and high command. It's as a new person to the org, you're going to have the opportunity to do what you want, and we give you that means. If you want to be more active, be more active. If you want to just take a role where you join the events and you have fun, you don't have to worry about anything after the fact, that's perfectly fine too. Everybody is valued.
It's sort of a follow-up question. So, how does it work when someone wants to transition from general membership to NCO or to officer or back?
So the way it's worked essentially is we have these missions a person has to do. Like, let's say if you're in the Navy, all the missions you'll have to do in game will be like, oh, get to a certain rank in the Bounty Hunters Guild, doing ship-based combat. We have probably 200 in total trainings that we offer our membership. So you'll have to complete a certain list of those that are relevant for the Navy. Once you complete those milestones, then we have a final sort of check mark you need to complete, which is merits. So we have a merit-based system, which basically measures valued participation. So if you participate in an event, and you're actually doing it, doing whatever the event is, doesn't matter what it is. Could just be something as simple as moving boxes or fighting other orgs or just doing missions. You get enough merits, you complete the trainings, you move up. Once you make it to enlisted pay grade 4, which is E4, which is the highest level of our general membership, you now have the opportunity to progress to become a non-commissioned officer, which is essentially the same requirements, except now you need a recommendation from an officer in your division to move you into that sort of first stepping stone of responsibility and leadership. And then it's the same thing, more merits, more trainings, more missions, and then officer recommendation to go all the way up to officer.
Oh, that is actually quite a well-defined progression tree. I do have to say that, one, that's got to be one heck of a spreadsheet, and two, the E4 Mafia was mentioned, so that's going to be a lot of fun moments.
Yes. E4 Mafia.
It is possible to progress from just a basic new person, and then after time in, you can actually make it to my rank. You can have my job if you want, which that is not a possibility for other orgs.
Does anyone want your job?
Most people don't. When they get to it,
No.
they're like, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to go back and just play the game. I don't want to do spreadsheets.
But spreadsheets are fun.
Yeah.
It gives an opportunity, though, for those who are dedicated, because you're going to get general people who just want to come and participate, but then there's always those people who have that, that drive. They want to do something and be a part of it. And when I first joined, it took me a little bit, but I got there, and now I'm an officer. So, and I value it, and I value the time that I've put into it. It gives you something. It gives you something to work for if you want it.
Yeah, makes sense. So, and that actually brings us very nicely to question number 4. So, what are the biggest challenges you face or have faced as leaders?
Well, honestly, it's not so much just being a leader. It's because our biggest challenge is going to be recruitment, just full admittance. And from that is mostly because of there's objections to why should I join? What's the benefit for me? And then, of course, everyone is aware of that. There's that negative stigma surrounding orgs and guilds generally in MMOs. You get a lot of that in global chat where somebody might mention it, and then you have to mute global chat because someone will go off on a tirade of how orgs and guilds are evil. I mean, it's overcoming that kind of stuff, and I don't want to use the wrong term here, but like finding those people, those diamonds out there in the rough, and getting them motivated to do more, and become leaders within the organization. That can sometimes be a little tough because it is a lot of work to put into it, and a lot of people will say, "Oh, I want to do it," but then back off after trying for a little bit, and it's trying to constantly keep them motivated, and keep that drive going. So those would probably be the two big things I would say.
Gonzo?
I would say managing burnout would be one of the things that I have, not for myself, because I wake up and I'm ready to go. Right. I may need some coffee to help speak English properly, but but I'm ready.
Right? And he's not lying. He is ripping from the time he's awake and going.
I am slightly jealous.
Yeah. Just managing like burnout. Like there'll be times where someone will join the org and they'll be like, I want to do this. I want to do more. And then we give them the ability. We teach them how to do more effectively and efficiently. They get to the position where they're now in charge of running events, and then they run events for a couple of months and they're like, man, this really sucks. It's like, yeah, bro, it's work. Like we put in a lot of effort, and it's really a thankless job because there's not really anything you get out of it besides helping other people get better. You know what I mean? Like they get to have the fun. A lot of times I get woken up I'll get woken up at like 2, 3 in the morning just to resolve some issue that popped up or something happened with the Discord or whatever else, And it does take time away from your personal life because of that. But that kind of factors into why our org motto is um, in Latin, palma non sin pulverde, which basically translates to no reward without effort. So that's why we picked that when we founded the org.
And that actually nicely brings us to question number 5. How do you handle conflicts or disputes within the organization, whether that be member disputes or within sort of the command structure?
So interpersonal conflicts will always happen, right? I don't know how. What's the rating? Am I allowed to curse? Because I have.
I think yes.
Okay. So there's this old saying that goes, if you put people in a room for long enough, they're either gonna fuck or they're gonna fight. And online, there's only really one option. They're gonna fight. So interpersonal conflicts, they do happen. You just kind of keep it outside of org business when we're doing events. Like, it shouldn't be personal. You shouldn't be, petty and having malicious compliance with, whatever the event is. You shouldn't be bringing down other people's time just because of your petty nonsense. But when there's actual conflicts that are related to the org structure or something along that lines, typically because of our divisional structure, it's a very nice, clean division of labor. So the LockCorp guys will handle the LockCorp leadership will handle any conflicts in LockCorp, so that way we don't have people outside the division worrying about stuff because they have their own people to worry about. But sometimes there's a conflict with leadership where we need a third party to mediate to be like, figure out, okay, guys, what's the problem? What's stopping us from moving forward? How can we settle this so that we can all benefit, right? Because there's 90,000 different organizations and we're all in the same team. You know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of people not on our team that we have to worry about.
Yeah, making sure people remember the fact that we're Sante. We're a group. We are who we are, and we need to come together when it matters. So,
yeah, that makes sense to me. Ready to move on?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. So, how do you guys onboard and train new members? I know we kind of brushed into this with the officer ranks, but is it different for members? I know you said you had some trainings and merits.
Yeah. So overall, the onboarding involves not only joining the Discord and the verification through that, but there is a website verification through our website, scsante.org. Basically, once you're in, you become a recruit. And from there, you're allowed to participate in events. You're allowed to get to know people. When you want to take that next step and actually become an enlisted member, we do have an onboarding training. The onboard training itself is designed around making people better players, not just, what can you do for the org? I mean, there is org information in there, but most of it's focused on just helping people grow as players and understand, the concepts and the minutia of Star Citizen, because there's a lot there. And we do structure the training around literally that free flight guy who comes in, doesn't even own anything right now, just playing for a week. He can join, and by the time he's done with his training, he'll have a better understanding. Kind of picking up the slack from the tutorial that they've recently shut off. That's the best way. Understandable. It can get it can be a little frustrating on the long-term player, but the idea is to put everybody on that base level. This is the basic understanding of the game. Let's just make sure that everybody knows everything. Because even people who've joined with 500 hours, 1,000 hours, there's stuff in our onboarding and our basic training that they didn't know about. So it's a benefit for everybody. And then, of course, going through that, as you progress, the trainings go up and up, and it's all about becoming better. Those milestones, the point of bounty hunting. Well, bounty hunting, when it used to be just flying, was just about learning combat, learning space combat, stuff like that. So it's all progression within the game to show progression within the org, if that makes sense.
Right.
And then,
I mean, I had one of my viewers once say that the learning curve for Star Citizen is vertical.
Yep.
Yes.
And I think this captures it very well.
There are 2 games that I play, probably because deep down inside I'm masochistic, but it's Star Citizen and Tarkov, and both of them have a learning curve that is literally just a straight shot to the moon. There is no onboarding, and so it's nice to have that, you know. And then moving on from there, our training's a ticket-based system. Somebody says, "Hey, I want to do these trainings and I want to get this done," and they progress along the chain. Um, it's handled by our NCOs and sometimes the officers if there's overload. But it's all designed, like I said, it's a progressive ladder. It's to make you better, and then as we get into like NCO and officer training, that's when we're going to uncover more of the how to be a leader style trainings. You know, give people insight into the way people think. You know, that and that sort of stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's extensive. Like Gonzo said, we have over 200 trainings, and then we even have there's working for other stuff down the road. You know, where we're going to have specialized trainings for different divisions, that sort of thing. So we're constantly growing, we're constantly adding, and we're constantly making sure that our training program matches the current state of the game. You know, like we had a massive rework for the Navy when Master Modes dropped. And now we're going to be looking at probably another rework for the Navy and ship combat here soon. You know, as they keep tweaking these things. So especially when atmospheric flight comes in, oh boy, I'm going to be sitting here with spreadsheets for days. But it's worth it because I want people, you know, I'm going to go in with other naval personnel. We're going to learn the game, and then we're going to be able to translate that into how do we help the newbie, or how do we help the person who maybe all they know is mining. Now they want to get into combat. You know, how do we help them? And we do a lot of cross training as well. And we encourage that. Just because you're in Lock Corp doesn't mean you can't take naval trainings. Just because you're in Navy doesn't mean you can't take Serpents trainings. You know, we like the idea that people want to learn and pick up more information. So it's there, it's available. We work on it and allow others, you know, you get what you get what you get out of it. Whatever you put in, you get out.
Yeah, very nice. Gonzo, anything?
I'd like to harken back for an example. One of our basic trainings that catches a lot of our like Star Citizen veteran players off guard is it's titled "How Not to Be Victimized." So basically, it covers over basic stuff like making sure when you're going to an armistice zone, you're locking your doors, you're not leaving your door open, you're doing a quick once over on your ship. You're making sure you're not accepting random party invites from people that are trying to squeeze into your server to do whatever else they want to do. And basic like nuanced stuff like that if you don't think about it, you probably never thought about it until you realize that you're doing it. You know what I mean? And you only have someone sneak on board your ship once and shoot you in the back while you're in quantum travel once, and then after that you start getting more security conscious, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think it happened to everyone at least once. Yeah, that's very good. So I think we can move on. So, and we again covered a little bit of this, but so what kind of in-game activities you guys focus on? Trading, exploration, mining, piracy, etc.
So our org is a lawful organization. We are a jack of all trades, master of some. We do focus in on fighting, mining, logistics, etc., making money in the game, whatever the current flavor of the month is. We do it so we can fund buying ships for people, buying parts for people, buying outfits for people. We also even do contracts with other orgs. So there was this one time where another org reached out to us because they were having some trouble with another org that was like following them around on servers and killing them. And they were basically what they did is they offer a touring service. So they go to the different points of interest and talk about it for people. They pay credits to do it. Nice little role play thing for them. And they couldn't deal with the pirates that would show up and attack them and ambush them. So they hired us, and we sat in quant outside of like direct like line of sight. So we sat in just one quick little jump away, just sitting in like a big fleet with hammerheads and all these fighting ships and stuff. And so when the pirates showed up, we jumped in and annihilated them all. And then after that, the touring company wasn't getting pirated anymore by this other group. So we do lots of just playing of really just everything.
Yeah, along with that, with these narrative stuff that's coming with these hanger rewards, one big thing we do stress is getting everybody those rewards. If you're in the org, we want everyone from Gonzo's position all the way down to the guy who just joined. In fact, he may not even be a member yet. We're going to make sure because he's with us that he gets those rewards too. It's something that kind of amps up activity for a while, and we'll have a week straight. Like when CZs dropped, we had a week straight where we are just sitting there camping CZs, camping the printers and making sure that everybody got everything they needed.
Yep, the contested zones.
Yeah, the contested zones. Sorry, acronyms are fun.
With all the things in game, we need acronyms.
That's
a
true.
lot of them, and a dictionary of all the acronyms.
I spent.
Well, I think with that we actually covered question 8 about working with other orgs.
I was just about to say, speaking of another acronym, if I may, when it comes to other orgs,
Go ahead.
As I said before, I'm a deputy council member of SACA. That is the Synergistic Alliance and Collective Action Treaty that was founded by Sante Interstellar Solutions, and that is a treaty that we have with other orgs, and it's a a mutual beneficial treaty for all orgs. No, not what am I looking for?
Basically,
sorry, yeah,
the alliance. The goal is to be like, hey, you like doing stuff, we like doing stuff. Let's get together once in a while and do stuff together, so we have more engagement. We have some
non-aggression. That was what I was looking for. Sorry, it's non-aggression. If somebody's getting attacked and they happen to be a member of the SACA, and you let them know, they're supposed to back off. Obviously, sorry, I didn't.
Yep.
My brain kicked in again.
Yeah. So it's about getting more.
It is morning for you guys. It is evening for me. So
right. It's also more about getting like more people on your team, right? If you've ever played EVE Online, you know that when you go into like the dangerous part of the systems, if you're not a part of a group, if you're not on someone's whitelist, that means you're on everybody's blacklist. So it's just so you have some semblance of safe space, if that makes like safe, like actual like space, like you're not going to get blown up just leaving the station, But it's designed in a way to where I in SIS cannot tell the other groups in the other orgs in the alliance how to run their org. That's not my business. It's just at a high level, agreement between the higher ups of the different orgs to like, hey, we're going to get together, we're going to do stuff. Hey, we learned about this new thing coming. Hey, we're going to go to CitizenCon this next year. Let's get a booth together and do some stuff. There's things like that.
Yeah, it's like the UN or the League of Nations, but it actually works.
Exactly.
Yeah, I read the treaty on the website. Do you guys have a lawyer write that?
We do have lots of people who play this game who are well off, I would say.
Yeah.
We do harken back to our mantra of no reward without effort, so everything we do has that effort in it.
So, yeah.
Nice. All right, well, let's go on question number 9. And again, we talked about this. You guys are overlapping things very nicely. So how do you guys keep members engaged and active over time, especially between patches? Especially over the last 2 years, we had 4, 5, 6 months between major patches, and we see major slow periods in between usually.
Well, big one with that. Thankfully, CIG has made this year all about the little patches and getting things out to us, so that's going to help. But overall, it's all about our events, and like we were talking about before, our NCOs and our officers do run the events. They'll plan something like, "Hey, we're going to do this cargo run, or we're going to do contested zones, or we're going to work on Safe Stand when that was out." So we do focus on daily, weekly events. Sometimes our calendar will have multiple events in a day. Sometimes events overlap. That will happen, depending on what's going on. But then also we like to, through SACA and through our sister organizations, we like to plan big org stuff at least once a month, where, the last one we did, we were holding down, what were we holding down, Gonzo? I forget.
Shepherd's Rest.
Shepherd's Rest, that's right. So we were holding down Shepherd's Rest. We had one of our sister orgs was on the ground. Mostly they had a couple people up in the air, but they were holding the ground down. We were holding up the air, and pretty much anyone who came our way it was a fight. And we had some really good fights. So it's all about keeping something going on within Star Citizen itself. Here to day to day. Also, just joining into the Discord. I mean, our Discord is really active, whether it's a group doing something in Star Citizen on their own, in which, if that does happen, we actually do give credit to people for doing that. If they have a certain number of people and they're doing a certain thing for a time, it'll be an ad hoc merit, so they get credit for playing together. But we also, obviously, there's other video games out there. You could join our Discord anytime. There could be 6 different channels of people doing stuff. We encourage people playing together. We're not just org mates in Star Citizen. We're friends. We game together. From Marvel Rivals to Tarkov to Dune's coming out, and I think we have at least 20 members who are getting ready for that to drop, and we're all just Sante's gonna invade, and have a good time. So yeah, we just, even if you're not doing anything, I work and I'll jump in a Discord call with the guys just to see how things are going. We promote that kind of stuff. We like that kind of stuff. It's engaging. So even when there's a lull, we don't need Star Citizen to be in a point like it can go into a lull and we still stay active because we promote being a group that games together.
Yeah, I agree. I've been, for years that I've been a content creator, I've been saying that, yes, Star Citizen can be your main game, but there should be 1 or 2 or multiple games that you have sort of in your back pocket that you play when the patch is broken, or there hasn't been a patch for a very long time, or the servers are down because server meshing just came out. So yeah, I absolutely agree.
Or even if you just get burned out, even if you've just been, there's stuff to do, but like I need to take an hour and go do something else. It's some brainless, mind-numbing activity. Or, I don't know, anything. Just you need to break it up.
Gonzo, anything to add?
No, not really. He had all the high points.
All right, well, let's move on. So, and we have 2 questions that are sort of related, but there are 2 questions. So, where do you see your organization in the next few years as Star Citizen develops?
As Star Citizen develops, so essentially, what I see the org becoming is a pillar of the Star Citizen community. An organization that other orgs can look at and be like, they figured it out. I want to do what they do. We can copy their systems and have an effective, efficient, and smartly run organization, if that makes sense. Where people aren't being taken advantage of, where people can, understand that their time is valued and stuff like that.
I mean, along with that, the obvious thing too is going to be the tools that CIG provides orgs. Things like an org bank, they did highlight that in the one, I think it was at ISC, right, where they went into and at CitizenCon.
CitizenCon too.
Believe me, as I can imagine how Gonzo feels about it, running, and founding this whole show. But me as an officer, I'm sitting there going, "Oh, I can't wait for this stuff to be in here. I am so tired of having to manage finances and this, that, and the other thing outside of the game. I would love for these tools." And it's just, we get it done now. Star Citizen and CIG are going to give us the tools to get it done better and more efficiently. And that's really what we're looking forward to with that. Because as far as the overall gameplay, it's still the same. We're still doing what we're doing. It's just the tools are going to give us to make things better.
Yeah, I mean, generally, org bank, equipment management, fleet management is some of the big stuff. Even though I'm not a org leader, I'm just a senior officer, it is stuff that I am looking forward to. It is stuff that I think is important and takes up a lot of people's time. And we, at ADI, we have a whole staff shop of I don't know how many people whose only responsibility is the org bank and the sort of quartermaster stuff.
Yeah. And when that stuff becomes automated or easier, then they can spend more time playing the game instead of doing, the spreadsheet simulator.
I mean,
it'd be nice, won't it?
That some of them like the spreadsheets more.
Okay, fair enough. That's fair. There's always going to be those people, yeah.
I mean, can you even play Star Citizen if you don't like spreadsheets?
I don't know.
Everybody has a spreadsheet for something.
Right? You're absolutely right.
All right, moving on. So how do you think progress of Star Citizen development is going to impact your org's playstyle?
I mean, the playstyle itself, like I said, we're pretty much like Gonzo said earlier, we're a jack of all trades, we're a master of some. And I look at it like this: the more they give us to do, the more we're going to do. That's really what it comes down to is things like persistence. The more persistence, it's going to give people more incentive to come out and put that time and effort into getting, those hanger rewards and so on and so forth, knowing they're not going to lose them, knowing that we can go get an executive ship for somebody and they're going to have it next year, that sort of stuff. So if anything, it's just going to amplify it. It's going to crank it to 11, or it's going to take what we're doing now and just make it better.
Gonzo?
He hit pretty much all the high points again.
I like how you're letting your officers do most of the talking
Right.
for you.
Hey, delegate.
Delegate, exactly. So, final question, and I'm gonna put you guys on the spotlight. Why should someone join your organization?
Someone should join because SIS values our members' time just as much as they do. We don't see them as just a number here. We want them to grow in game but also as a person. And we're in it to play. We're in it for the long term. We're going to be here even if, things go by the wayside with Star Citizen. We're still going to be playing.
Oh yeah, this Discord is going to be active in 25 years.
Yep.
By then it'll probably look like a holo presenter from like Star Wars or something like that. We're all just sitting around a table. But Gonzo's right though. It's time valuation is really important to people, and I don't feel that any second of my time with Sante has been wasted because there's something happening. Like I said, even if it's just me jumping in at work and seeing how everybody's doing, it's just good to know that there's that group there that I can go and hang out with, even if I don't feel like gaming that day.
Well, that was all the questions. So, guys, any final / closing thoughts on the interview?
Just thank you for the opportunity, really.
Yeah, really. Thank you for having us. We do appreciate it. And if I can just plug the website one more time, is that all right?
Yeah, go ahead. It's going to be linked everywhere, but go ahead.
www.scsante.org if you're looking to join.
Note to self, put it on screen when he's saying it.
Thank you.
Well, with that being said, I think that will be all. Thank you guys for joining me. It was a very fun interview. And thank you. And have a good one.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
So thanks again to Andy and Gonzo for the interview. For those of you watching or listening, if you liked what you heard and saw, go check out SIS on their website and Discord linked in the description. And if you would like to see your organization featured on the show, feel free to reach out to me via Discord or email. Thank you for watching, fly safe, and I will see you in the verse.